You put on your headphones and hit noise cancellation. The room disappears. The hum of the refrigerator disappears. Your own breathing gets quieter in your ears. For a moment you think you have found silence. But the real answer is far stranger. What you are hearing when the world goes quiet is not silence at all. It is your own body turned up loud enough to notice. And nowhere was that truth discovered more completely than in the one place on Earth humans assumed would be the quietest of all. The bottom of the ocean. In 1960, a Swiss engineer named Jacques Picard and a U.S. Navy officer named Don Walsh climbed into a steel sphere called the Trieste. They sealed the hatch. Then they began to sink. Down past the last blue light. Down past the layer where fish still have eyes. Down for nearly 5 hours until the pressure outside was over 1,000 times what you feel standing on land right now. They were heading for the Challenger Deep, the lowest point in the Mariana Trench, nearly 7 miles beneath the surface. It is the deepest place in any ocean on the planet. And almost everyone assumed it would be the quietest. It was not. Picard and Walsh spent only 20 minutes at the bottom before a window cracked and they had to surface. But the mission proved something scientists had long suspected and could now confirm. Sound does not fade in deep water. It travels. Sound moves nearly 5 times faster underwater than it does through air, and in the deep ocean with almost nothing to absorb it, that sound can travel for hundreds, even thousands of miles. A propeller turning off the coast of California can be picked up by instruments near Hawaii. A whale calling in the Arctic can, under the right conditions, be heard an ocean away. Here is where it gets stranger. Decades after Picard and Walsh's dive, researchers dropped hydrophones, underwater microphones built to survive crushing pressure, straight into the Challenger Deep itself. They expected near total silence. What came back was a constant layered soundscape. The moan of passing ships. The rumble of distant earthquakes. The eerie looping call of baleen whales. Even the trench itself seemed to hum, a low mechanical noise scientists believe comes from the movement of tectonic plates grinding far below the seafloor. The deepest, most isolated point on Earth, a place humans can barely survive visiting, turned out to be humming with noise the entire time. Why does this matter to you? Because for most of human history, you assumed silence was the absence of something. A blank space. Nothing happening. But the deep sea told scientists the opposite. Silence, real total silence, does not exist in nature. Not in the ocean. Not on land. Sound is always moving through matter, and where there is water or air or rock, there is something for sound to travel through. What changes is not whether sound exists. What changes is whether you are equipped to hear it. This is where the story turns inward toward your own skull. In 2004, an acoustic engineer named Trevor Cox began cataloging the world's most extreme sound environments for a project that would later become a book. Along the way he studied something built specifically to strip away every trace of outside sound. An anechoic chamber. A room lined with thick foam wedges designed to absorb almost 100% of reflected sound, sitting inside walls of steel and concrete that block almost everything from outside. One such chamber, built by acoustic engineer Stephen Orfield in Minnesota, holds the record as one of the quietest places ever measured on Earth. Quieter than a recording studio. Quieter than a padded cell. Quieter, in a technical sense, than the deep ocean trench itself. People who volunteer to sit inside it are timed. Most cannot last more than a few minutes. Not because the silence is peaceful. Because it is not silence at all. With every outside sound removed, your own body becomes the loudest thing in the room. You start to hear your heartbeat. You hear blood moving through your ears. You hear your joints shift when you move. Some visitors report hearing a high ringing tone that never existed before they walked in, the sound of their own nervous system, active and never actually quiet, finally audible because nothing else is competing for your attention. The chamber does not create silence. It reveals that you were never silent to begin with. So the ocean floor hums with tectonic movement and distant ships. And a padded room in Minnesota makes people hear their own blood. Two opposite extremes, both proving the same thing. There is no such place inside you or around you where sound simply stops. Think about what that means for the quiet you crave in your ordinary life. When you put on noise-canceling headphones on a crowded train, you are not entering silence. You are trading the sound of strangers for the sound of yourself. Your breath. Your pulse. The faint electronic hiss of the cancellation system working to fight the noise around you. Researchers who study attention and stress have found that people often reach for that manufactured hush not because they want nothing, but because they want relief from a specific kind of noise, the unpredictable, uncontrollable kind. Constant low sound, like a fan or distant traffic, barely registers to your brain. Sudden or chaotic sound does. Marine biologists have found the same pattern in whales and dolphins, animals that rely on sound to navigate and communicate across entire ocean basins. It is not ambient noise that disorients them. It is sudden, sharp, unpredictable noise, like sonar blasts or ship engines starting without warning, that can drive them miles off course. You are not so different from a whale surfacing beneath a cargo ship. Both of you evolved in an environment that was never actually silent, and both of your nervous systems learned to filter constant background sound into something like peace, while staying primed to react instantly to anything sudden. That instinct kept your ancestors alive on an open plain where a sudden crack of a branch meant a predator, not a squirrel. It kept early humans reacting to a strange silence in the forest, the kind that meant every bird had gone quiet at once, faster than they reacted to the birdsong itself. Quiet was never neutral to a human brain. Quiet was often the warning sign that something had changed. So what did deep-sea explorers really discover 7 miles down in the place everyone assumed would finally be empty of sound? They discovered that the world does not go quiet just because you cannot see anything left to make noise. They discovered that the ocean's most remote trench still carries the echo of whales, ships, and the planet itself shifting beneath the water. And without meaning to, they help prove something about you too. That underneath every attempt you make to find true quiet, headphones on, eyes closed, alone in a dark room, there is a body that never stops. A heartbeat. A breath. A hum that was always there, waiting for everything else to get quiet enough for you to finally notice it. Tonight, when you put your headphones back on and the room seems to disappear, you will not have found silence. You will have found yourself.